Soul.
Hey guys, I'm Vaughn and I make comic books. And I have to tell you, one of the most potent memories I have as a very young boy is being in a movie theater and watching the original Ghostbusters. And I'll never forget it and how much fun it was and how much magic was in the air and how mind blowing all the imagery and special effects were and how hard everyone laughed. And that feeling completely imbued a whole generation of young boys into becoming these Ghostbuster fans now, who are these dads now, who now pass on the Ghostbusters baton to the kids. And we've had since then this whole gap of like, we did 2 Ghostbuster movies, and then they acted like the second one was the worst thing ever. Now people look at it like some sort of like lost classic. And then all this time in between where like we could have had TV shows, we could have had really good stuff. They kind of got around to making a video game, which people which they saw the love from that game and its sales and how people talked about it as like the third, unfilmed movie. And then all of a sudden they make a movie called Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it's like directed by Ivan Reitman's son, who's like, he loves to make hipster films. So it becomes this movie about a quirky hipster family that has to be in Oklahoma. That's wacky. And it's like kind of a bad movie. It's not really a very good movie. It had so much nostalgia, like just attacking you from left and right, and that it was bizarre. And I've never watched it since either. And yes, it had a young black woman suddenly kicking down a door and knowing how to use a proton pack and kicking ass at the very end too, because you can't make a movie without that happening now. Like every movie now, every TV show, every commercial, there's a black woman involved, and she's there, and she's more powerful than you and knows how to do everything, more capable. It's just like the way white women in Hollywood think things should be run, guys. It's their fault. Blame them. So I was just like, whatever. So it turns out that movie was supposed to come out years before, but COVID happened and it got delayed. It's weird. And now all this time passes and they're like, new Ghostbusters movie. Here it is, guys. Frozen Empire. And I don't know what to think. I don't know. How should I do this? How should I put myself for this? Yeah, I guess a little bit of this. Okay. Maybe a little bigger here. I just saw it a few days ago with my family. It was a birthday thing for me because I just wanted my whole family to be there to enjoy this thing, this cheesy thing that my nieces and nephews who are younger can watch too because it's for kids. And I have to tell you, it's the weirdest thing seeing all these actors you love and all these storylines and plots that you know are awesome, and then watching it get combined with a million different like characters that don't need to be there and all these different things that just didn't really work. And yet they didn't make the most awful movie ever. It's not a terrible movie. It's just such a bizarre wad of like Hollywood bubblegum wrapped around like some of your nostalgia, with like some other weird things I'll get into. But I'm going to do some spoilers on this, guys, ahead from here. So you're going to have to like get the hell out. This is your moment to exit this dimensional portal and go watch it yourself. Please do. Please do. If you're into Ghostbusters, at least give it a watch. I think it's worth it. But don't expect some classic. It feels like they wanted to do... I shouldn't say feels. Really what happened here was they thought they could win over the Stranger Things audience with that Finn Wolfhard kid who just is basically the same character in every movie with the funky hair and the dopey teenage son, And I don't think it worked. And then they combined it with the old guys who we loved. And they tried to make a movie that's essentially about family and has the same type of climax that the last movie did, which is the whole like people helping the girl while she's shooting the stream. They're like helping to hold the stream. The whole family holds the stream. Everybody's holding everybody's streams in these new movies because no one could do it on their own. It's a team effort, guys. And, at least they tried to have a wholesome message to make it about family, but it feels very like Hollywood and hollow and like, don't you love family? Enjoy your popcorn. Get out of here. The movie itself didn't feel like it was that much about family. It just felt like kind of a weird film about how this young Egon Spengler's granddaughter, who has a weird, almost like lesbo thing with a ghost. So that was really family friendly. Let me tell you, every family wants to take their kid to explain that shit to their kids. And she's busting ghosts, but she's not allowed to bust ghosts, and the city won't let her. And then Winston seems like he doesn't want her busting ghosts, but she's helping them bust ghosts as a family now, while they all live in the firehouse as a family of like wannabe Ghostbusters. But they are doing the job, and it's really weird. The mom seems like she doesn't even want to ever get off the couch, and when you do see her, she is on the couch with her phone, just like in the other movie. It's like, why would she be running around with a proton pack on upstairs, flights of stairs? Do you guys think anyone has to be physical anymore? What would have happened is if Winston was running a serious Ghostbusting business, which that's what is going on in this movie, he wouldn't just have his weird secret lab full of like ghost zoo that could be shut down at any minute through just a power outage, which is a really bad idea, by the way. This is what happened. Like, I'm going too fast now. I'm thinking about Winston's secret ghost zoo that he has, where they experiment and like look at the ghosts in real time and stuff, but totally have a non-fail-safe security system that can easily be tampered with or fall apart at any moment, which I think it does fall apart about like 5 times throughout the movie. Anyway, and the ghosts get right out. Hooray! But no, Winston would have had a team of younger guys, fireman style, blue-collar, weirdo scientists who are funny and quirky, running that firehouse. The whole Oklahoma family moves up to New York to bust ghosts thing doesn't even make sense to me. But like I said, this movie's very forceful with, we want this old cast in the movie, and we want the Stranger Things family with Paul Rudd, who at least is fun and charming and funny. He would have been a great Ghostbuster on his own without trying to be stepdad and shit. But no, and then they want to combine it with the firehouse. With New York, with all the great things that made Ghostbusters great, but they don't combine it with all the things, and I'll explain that. I'll explain it now. See, the original Ghostbusters movie, it's about some blue-collar, wacky, out-there scientist schlubs that no one takes seriously, going into business and defeating the government and the bureaucracy, and defeating the evil at the end, and becoming real deal heroes after being major losers and outcasts. It's the little guy stepping up. It's the American dream. And it's so funny. And every scene pops along perfectly. And I realized something about why that movie's so good and why it's so hard to rep. Back then, Saturday Night Live was pumping with just popularity and greatness and hilarity every freaking week. Saturday Night Live, you had to watch it. And these guys, these actors, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, these guys were like Saturday Night Live veterans, or maybe even still on the show. I can't remember if they were still on it or not. And they were names, man, and they were doing great stuff. Every scene in Ghostbusters, I started to realize, is like a Saturday Night Live sketch that cleverly connects to the next scene and drives the story forward into like a coherent, awesome script that you should study if you're a storyteller or screenwriter. Ghostbusters is a fantastic script. It hits all the marks. That's why it's worth studying, just like Star Wars. And they're simple, but they're not simple. It seems simple, but to do what they do is very hard. It takes a lot of redrafts and a lot of magic and a lot of thought. And they made movies back then to be almost like one SNL sketch that goes into another one. When Bill Murray's experimenting on people and giving a guy electric shocks, like that feels like an SNL sketch to me. It moves to the next thing. And how do you replicate that now? You kind of can't. You just can't. So what do? They just have a bunch of teenagers be Ghostbusters? Guys, you would not let a 15-year-old handle a proton pack on any professional level, okay? It's stupid. The only reason we went with it in Afterlife is because they were just all running around in the middle of Oklahoma, right? But on a business level, give me a break. We should have moved away from these characters and brought in the old guys and brought in the new funny guys, and they did a good job. They brought in some other funny actors that did a really good job. And I have to say, the movie itself is not even well edited. It's not well shot. It doesn't have the best effects. It doesn't have terrible effects. It's just kind of like, eh. And then the plot of it is actually really good. Is like an animated Ghostbusters Saturday morning cartoon plot, where you have your big bad, and they have a history, and they have to figure it out, and then they have to figure out how to defeat it, and then they do. Happy ending. It was like playing a Ghostbusters role-playing game and having to move through the story and go back into the history and find out about how evil this thing is and how scary it is. And they have to go to the library and listen to old recordings. It's really cool. It was really well done. Those parts were so Ghostbusters. They brought back the old library with the lions. They brought back nostalgia. And yes, it was nostalgic, but it made sense. It was part of the plot that worked. And that's kind of one of the things I loved about the movie was it felt like Dan Aykroyd helped come up with a lot of this and this plot. I could be wrong on it. It seems like they drew from some very real Ghostbuster stuff for it. But then, of course, they smeared Stranger Things on it. Way too many characters. It's a very weird thing to watch the trailers and then this movie because a lot of things in the trailers did not make it into the movie, guys. Paul Rudd on top of the building going, oh, ho, 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 with everybody in their jackets. That's not it. That's not in the movie. It's really jarring. Movies are weird now. They're doing all these weird cuts right before they release, and it's just what a crazy thing that Hollywood has become. So yeah, it's a weird movie with a good plot, some great Ghostbustery moments, and then way too much of like teenagers and like, oh, maybe me and the ghost are lesbian ghosts together. We can lick each other's ectoplasm all day long. Scissor through different dimensional portals. Who knows? We can make it work. We'll make it work. It's really, really, it's lame. Nobody wants to bring their kids to that shit. That's not Ghostbusters. You know what I'm saying? And to me, they should have made something. They could have still used Egon's granddaughter, but made her a college student. And then she has to work with all these blue collar guys, and she ends up, being a really invaluable member of the team by the end. I would never really watch this again. I didn't really. It wasn't the type of movie that had the heart and soul of the other ones, or even a lot of the comedy or wit. It had some great moments with some other characters they brought in, but other than that, barely any Venkman. Holy shit, barely any Venkman either. That hurt. Anyway, you guys, not enough Venkman as usual. It feels like Bill Murray shows up for like one day of shooting and just cracks a few wise ones just while they roll, and then leaves and collects a check. And then he mysteriously exits. Pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know that they'll make more of these. I have no idea. This might be it for Ghostbusters, guys. This might be the end. If it's the end, it didn't feel like a very good send-off. They got to get rid of all the kids, and they should just do like a good guns blazing. I mean, maybe there's no point in even doing it anymore because there's too much Hollywood bureaucracy and weirdness happening to where movies are coming out so weirdly cut, weirdly edited. The comedy isn't well timed. It's bizarre stuff. And yet, not the word. I wasn't screaming at it or hating it. I was going, okay, all right. I mean, all right. A lot of like, okay, all right. And then some very nice moments with Ray, the heart of the Ghostbusters, though. Very fantastic in that regard. And loved Winston as always. But yeah, Winston, don't let the 15-year-old kids run your business. They're teenagers, man. They're shooting proton packs. They're not even allowed to smoke yet. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you, if you do like the movie, that's totally awesome. Cool. Good for you. I do not judge you at all. Not my cup of tea, but also, some good moments. I will admit some positives in there. So appreciate you tuning in and like and subscribe, all that good shit. Look for good comics from me and Rise Again Comics. We have some campaigns going right now with KITARU Witch Hunter on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic. So yeah, the printer charged me for books. They're going to start printing soon. I can't wait. I'm excited. I can't wait to get these in your hands. So thank you guys. Appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Von's Haunted Castle.